Good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, coffee. Nice for a cold morning. Nothing but Guatemalan. I was thinking about how I miss my Ethiopian coffee. I need to get some of that. Hey, how about that virus? Something, isn't it? Strap yourself in this morning. Hopefully you have 4-point seat belts while you're watching this. It's amazing how a virus can bring, I don't see a lot of heroes, let me put it this way. It can bring more assholes out of the woodwork than heroes. Not a lot of answers right now, is there? A lot of fake answers and fake news. Anything is possible in an election year. And I'm not saying that that is the reason for it, but never, ever, ever rule that out. And will we ever really know? There's a lot of things that we really don't know the answers to. A lot of things. And you have to be comfortable with uncertainty. Nevertheless, never be a victim. Which leads me to say this. Be careful of the communities that you identify with. I don't care what community it is. There's assholes and radicals in every community. It doesn't matter what they are. Let's talk about some of the communities that I've been in. The men's grooming community, the beard community, which I had to leave, just couldn't stand it. The piping community, the men's community, the community of preppers, the community of conspiracy folk. When you start diving deep into the communities, there's people that you just don't want to be associating with. You get tired of the celebrities of the beard community, the pipe community, the men's community, like all these weird ass things. You know what? Stick to yourself. You never let yourself down, do you? I know I never let myself down. I used to when I was younger on occasion. But as an adult male, as a man, I don't let myself down. That's why I'm very slow to join communities, churches, just stupid things. People who are rising up. People who are authorities. You just sit back and you don't want to become part of anything. Keep to yourself. And isn't that what this quarantine and lockdown is doing? The stay-at-home culture? As everybody's getting buggy right now, and bugging out, and bugging in, you kind of feel better by yourself, don't you? Because of sanity, clarity, and reason. And that the world is pretty darn crazy. I've already experienced the beauty of solitude. It's wonderful. And you're starting to see how wonderful it is, aren't you? Never do an enemy a small injury, for they are like a snake which is half beaten, and it will strike back the first chance it gets. Niccolo Machiavelli, 1505. Makes a lot of sense. That's why I say, utterly destroy your enemies. Do not allow them to even get up. I know that sounds harsh, doesn't it? You know where a lot of your trouble comes from? Revisiting the past. Revisiting enemies that you thought were sleeping or down. And they bit you again. Don't ever let that happen, if you can help it. That's why I say utterly destroy your enemies. It was the 3rd of June, another sleepy, dusty Delta day. I was out chopping cotton and my brother was baling hay. And at dinner time, we stopped and walked back to the house to eat, and Mama hollered out back, out the back door, y'all remember to wipe your feet. And then she said, I got some news this morning from Choctaw Ridge. Today, Billy Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge. Bobby Gentry, 1967. Rosalie Mendez was born to a Mexican mother and an American father in Oregon in 1945. She sang in a band at 13 and wrote the great song Angel Baby in 1960 for her first boyfriend that she had. She was 14 or 15 years old. John Lennon mentions Rosie as his favorite female voice. Led Zeppelin has made several references to Rosie as well in their liner notes. The song Angel Baby, I believe her band was called Rosie and the Originals. You want to check that out. 1959 or 1960. Kind of a haunting, cool song. Very interesting. From like the doo-wop era. I think you'd really like it. Rosie and the Originals, and the song is called Angel Baby. Great Granddaddy did it that way. Granddaddy did it that way. Daddy did it that way. Now I do it that way. So I have a question. What if Great Granddaddy was wrong? And everyone from him on down has been doing it the wrong way, including me and you. Home church? I love this one. Here's these churches. Well, we decided not to gather, so we're doing home churches. You mean fools who may be contagious, inviting fools who might be contagious into their home? Coronavirus 1, evangelical Christians 0. That's the score. Have you ever heard of Zoom conferencing or the internet or Skype? May stupidity be with you and also with you. Modesty is appropriate for a woman and sexy to the right eyes in public. Behind closed doors, you can free yourself, ladies. What a great secret to keep between the two of you. You don't need to be sexy or sexual with anyone but your fiancé or husband. Hence, the study that women who covered more of their bodies were perceived as more marriageable than women who showed a lot of skin and cleavage. Interesting, right? I've watched too many men believe that a female is their anchor. Currently, I'm watching one business owner friend of mine on his 3rd round and kids with each of the 3 women. Just waive his right to his future happiness. Say goodbye to it. Dudes, screw romanticism and God's will. Because a lot of these people are talking about God's will. A lot of God's will people out there. Make your decision after the orgasm. I see you being led around by your hormones and make a lot of dumb mistakes. Been there, done that. Use your head, not the bed. I took a poll. I asked, how do all you buy my course in Twitter money bros have health insurance? 8% said Obamacare. 20% said they pay through the nose. That, in other words, they pay a lot of money. 58% said what insurance? 14% said their spouse's insurance. Interesting breakdown there, right? I took another poll. I said, what do you think helps you sleep better? 52% said an eye mask. 48% said earplugs. Ideally, both. So we learned through this virus thing that every single business is in the marketing business. Usually the last thing that owners think about is marketing and promotion. I love this phrase from Pastor Eugene Scott. I can't walk by a guy kicking a dog without kicking the guy who's kicking the dog. That's the kind of things that get me into trouble. I like that guy. He didn't have a lot of friends. Only had a couple friends. I watched the documentary called God's Angry Man yesterday. Interesting fella. Be ready for her to split not long after you call her on her bullshit. She's not comfortable with the truth, and she must find somebody who's comfortable with her lies. That's what happens when you call a woman on her bullshit. And many women actually responded to that positively and said, "You're right." One woman said that she embraces that. She likes it when her man calls her on her stuff. Many people would call that misogynistic, but many women have a female BS detector as well. Women can call out another woman's bull so fast. Very few women carry on the legacy of their husbands. Most remarry, and then you, as a man, get lost in history. Within 1 or 2 generations, you're gone. Children are your best bet that your legacy and your work will continue if you are fortunate. That's why I say, have kids. In the book Haunted Bookshop by Christopher Morley, there's a few phrases, lines, sentences, descriptions of things that I'd like to share with you. Putting a man in a room full of books is like making a cat live in a room tapestried with catnip. Well, what about librarians? Librarians would all go mad if they did not have the cool and healing card index as their medicine. Isn't that true? Remember the card catalog? Those big drawers with the cards in them where you would look up a book. It's a good thing to turn your mind upside down now and then, like an hourglass, to let the particles run the other way. I love that line. It's proven that 2 weeks is the breaking point in this virus issue for most people being stuck inside with each other. It's getting real now. Either babies are being made or divorces are starting. A good beard can save you from a variety of facial faults. As your hair changes color, so does your beard options. When I was a younger man, a big black beard didn't look good on me. My beard turned white. All of a sudden, I can pull off a big white beard. Experiment with different facial hairstyles at different stages of your life, men. It's interesting. It's fun. Some guy thought he was going to school me and punk me by saying, men who grow beards have ugly faces. Okay. I looked at his Twitter page and his photo was him. He looked like Ken. His wife looked like Barbie, and they had 5 or 6 kids. So he's either Catholic or Mormon, but a cocky one. So that ruled everything out that he said. But I guarantee you this, if I dug deep into it, his wife wouldn't want him to grow a beard. So I knew who had the balls in that family. So we'll close that case. What a gift. You discovered how you're not going to make money in this corona thing. So your mind starts, now how can I make money now that my industry is dead, now that my trade is dead? What can I do? It's making us think in ways that we've never thought before or had to think before. Who was it, Galileo, that said, no, it wasn't Galileo. Adversity reveals genius, and prosperity conceals it. So through this adversity, people are thinking in ways that they've never thought before. And there's going to be some genius solutions, financial solutions coming down. It's going to be interesting. Keep your eyes and ears open. And don't be afraid to let your mind wander on how you can make more money. I definitely eat more and move less during quarantine and lockdown. I didn't realize how much I rely on the routine of going to the gym. And I believe many are experiencing the same. I feel myself being a little heavier right now. Thicker, heavier. Not necessarily more muscular, because I haven't moved a lot of heavy weight. And my prediction is that home gyms will explode in the next year. For me, body weight workouts just aren't the same. I like using weights, but I might have to change that. I mean, I have dumbbells that I really like, but I do miss moving heavy steel, heavy iron. That's one of the things I miss. In 1930, Iowa artist Grant Wood used his sister and his dentist as models for his painting that he called American Gothic. He chose a random house in his neighborhood to put behind them to paint a painting that you all recognize. Only hang out with people that want to win. All future associates should be vetted quickly for this one thing. Do they want to win, or are they victims? Your circle of friends would be so different, wouldn't it, if you only hung out with people that wanted to win. I was watching a video, and some guy who was kind of a homesteader fella talked about the top 3 survival vegetables. And the criteria was they have to be easy to grow, have the least crop failures, and not be so susceptible to beetles and bugs and that type of thing, and be able to store well, not rot. And his top 3 vegetables were beans of all types, butternut squash, and potatoes. Interesting to keep that in mind, right? Freaking out lowers the immune system. So if you keep freaking out and panicking about everything, guess what? A mosquito bite is going to kill you. So you remain calm. You remain calm while the rest of the world freaks out. And you'll be a king. Doesn't take much to be a king during a quarantine or lockdown now, does it? And with that, finish your coffee, and I'll see you tomorrow on the Daybreak Show, your home of sanity, clarity, and reason.